Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Western New York Power Proceeds Allocation Board meeting for February 14, 2023. I want to welcome my fellow members of the Allocation Board, Dennis, Brenda, Paul, and Deanna, and welcome our Empire State Development and New York Power Authority staff. This is a scheduled board meeting, which has been duly noticed as required by the Open Meetings Law of the state of New York. Prior to the meeting, our board members were circulated a proposed agenda. And at this time, I'd like to know if any of them have any changes to the proposed agenda.
No change.
Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve the meeting agenda as proposed.
So moved.
Moved by Brenda,
Second.
seconded by Paul. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. That carries unanimously. Also, prior to today's meeting, we polled each of you concerning potential conflicts of interest in connection with matters that we are going to consider today. It's my understanding that no one has disclosed a conflict in connection with today's application, but in order to confirm that nothing's transpired since you were initially polled, I just ask now for each of you to confirm that you do not have a conflict of interest in connection with today's agenda.
No conflict.
No conflict.
No conflict.
No conflict.
Thank you. Also, before today's meeting, we circulated the meeting minutes for our October 12, 2022 meeting. Are there any changes that are proposed for that document? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. I believe that that was Paul and Brenda.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? It sounds like that passed unanimously as well. I'd now like to ask Richard Smith from the New York Power Authority to present the next informational item on our agenda, which is a report on the fund balance. Richard,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen.
could you move the microphone a little closer to yourself, please? Thank you.
Can you hear me okay?
I can, but the members of the public might not be able to.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board. You have in your packets the fund update report dated December of 2022. I'd like to give you a moment to find that and we can review it. Okay. Total deposits to the fund to date amounts to $61,477,000. Total interest earned on deposits to date amounts to $833,585, which makes the total funds deposited to the account equal to $62,310,585. As to expenditures, total disbursements to grantees amounts to $35,912,700. There has been no administrative expenses withdrawn. This makes the current fund balance equal to $26,397,885. As to awards under standard projects, the total amount awarded amounts to $33,164,976. Under energy related projects, the amount is $6,737,815, making total fund benefits awarded equal to $39,902,791. And that makes the total fund benefits available to be awarded by the Western New York Power Proceeds Allocation Board equal to $22,407,794. As to the energy related project component of the program, a minimum amount of 15% is dedicated to energy related projects. That amounts to $9,221,550. Not including today, the amount awarded for energy related projects equals $737,815. That means the fund benefits currently available to be awarded for energy-related projects only is now $2,483,735. Today's recommendation amounts to $300,000, and it falls in the category of standard projects. As to the power that supports the program, the estimated unallocated EP and RP to date is equal to 126 megawatts. The estimated allocated but unused power to date that supports the program is 94 megawatts, making the total estimated unutilized EP and RP to date equal to 220 megawatts of power. There is additional detail on the next page of the report. I'd be happy to take any questions that the board may have.
Are there any questions for Richard?
Chair Dennis. Sorry, Chair Dennis.
Go right ahead, Dennis.
Thanks, Tony. Yeah, just one question about the estimated unallocated EP and RP. That's unallocated, but some of that, is any of that committed in terms of speculative and relative to attraction, Rich?
This power is available for attraction and expansion. It's not committed. The amount that is committed is what we call allocated but unused. So we have power awards that we've made, but the projects haven't commenced yet. And so that power is, again, it's encumbered. And still use it to fund the program. Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, we don't need to take any further action with respect to the fund report. I'd like to move on to the next item on our agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, this is round 29 of the award of benefits from the Western New York Economic Development Fund. Once again, I'd like to ask Richard Smith to present today's recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Today we have before us an application from the Hispanic Heritage Council of Western New York Incorporated. Staff is recommending that the Power Proceeds Allocation Board recommend a fund benefit award of $300,000 to Hispanic Heritage Council of Western New York Incorporated to support construction of a 3-story, 36,000 square foot building that will feature a theater, event space, media center, and learning labs, and offer workforce and business development while serving as home to the Hispanic Heritage Cultural Institute. HHC is a 501c3 established in 2011. It is dedicated to preserving history of the region's Hispanic culture by fostering and inspiring awareness, understanding, and appreciation of past, present, and future contributions of the Hispanic community in Western New York. From its new location, HHC will provide multifaceted programming and services such as tourism. The facility will be designed for and marketed to individuals across New York State, Ontario, and neighboring Great Lakes states, and offer Hispanic arts and culture to those seeking related destinations outside of the New York City metropolitan area. A media lab will be used to teach young people a variety of media capabilities, including developing camera, copywriting, storytelling, and production skills for television, radio, and social media. Educators Rising offers programming that prepares future educators with technical skills required for the education profession and leadership development. The Teacher Leadership Academy will provide high school students with mentoring and classwork to help them develop careers in education in partnership with the Buffalo Schools and Say Yes. Experiential learning provides educational opportunities related to the arts, literature, integration, science, entrepreneurship, and apprenticeship crafts in partnership with the University of Buffalo. As the first of its kind in upstate New York, the Hispanic Heritage Cultural Institute will serve as a place where the Buffalo Niagara community can learn, create, embrace Hispanic heritage through educational programming, tourism, and access to Hispanic culture that is rooted in the surrounding community. Project costs are comprised of building construction, pre-construction design, furniture, fixture, and equipment purchases. Several aspects of this project support a recommendation favoring a fund to benefit award. A proceeds award will help close a potential $2 million funding gap. It is estimated that over 100,000 Hispanics reside in Ontario, Canada, with easy access to the Cultural Institute via the Peace Bridge located nearby. Hispanics also reside throughout central New York to the southern tier, Ohio and Pennsylvania. The organization is planning to aggressively market the facility to these populations and invite them to participate in its Hispanic cultural activities. According to the 2013-2017 American Community Survey 5-year estimates, the overall poverty rate for the 14201 zip code, where the project will be located, is 35.8%, with approximately 48% of Hispanics and 54.4% of children under 18 living in poverty. Through this project, the applicant will provide outreach and economic growth opportunities to those living on the west side of Buffalo. A 2016 UB study indicates that when we achieve equity, the region benefits with respect to education and job readiness, income and wealth, quality of life in neighborhoods, criminal justice, and safety. In lower income neighborhoods, cultural resources are significantly linked to better health, schooling, and security. The building will be located directly on a main NFTA transportation hub. The project will augment and leverage a recent $16.3 million redevelopment of the Hispanic Heritage District focused on Niagara Square to Porter Avenue that addressed sidewalks, pedestrian traffic signals, bicycle lanes, and street corner artwork, and transformed the gateway to the Hispanic community on the west side of Buffalo. Lastly, the project aligns well with the following 2022 Western New York REDC strategies and priorities, and I'll quote here: facilitate growth of quality tourism product to promote extended stays and higher visitor spending, leverage our international border location, develop and cultivate the Western New York talent pool, including workers with advancement potential, underemployment, unemployed, and special populations, end quote. I'd be happy to take any questions that the board may have.
Thank you, Richard. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that my fellow members of the board have had an opportunity to meet with staff prior to today's meeting to seek further information concerning this particular application, but I would ask if any of the members have additional questions at this time. Hearing none, I would ask for a motion to adopt staff's recommendation to award $300,000 to the Hispanic Heritage Council of Western New York.
Yeah. Chair, can I just
Yeah,
make
I have
one?
a question.
Speak up, Dennis.
Okay, thanks. So part of the pre-meeting that we had, I pointed out that in the application, there was 5 major points of why this was such a very positive application. 4 of the 5 has to do with workforce development. And then I asked, is that true? In that context, then we should get letters of support of who are they working with in order to hire the individuals that we're saying that we're going to perform workforce development. We had a conversation also with ESD who talked about the CFA that was presented, and a lot of the workforce information wasn't in that application and they still went forward with it, that actually made me feel better. But my caution is that I concern myself that we're starting to frame applications around statewide buzzwords, and workforce development is a major buzzword. And so for future applications, if it relies so much on workforce development, I think we ought to require support letters from those who would actually then hire the individuals that we are developing, because the idea that this is happening in a disadvantaged community is fantastic. So who from that disadvantaged community will get a job, and then who will actually hire that person? So I know it's not a question, Chair, but I just getting concerned that we're starting to tell stories as opposed to applying for proceeds funds, and that in future applications, I'm just asking staff to push back a little bit, that if you're relying on workforce development, which I'm a big fan of, by the way, please include support letters from hiring firms, because I just think it would solidify the actual application. Thanks. I apologize for droning on.
Don't apologize. I think the point is well made. But as I understand what you said, you're not against this application. You're merely suggesting to staff that we ask applicants in the future to provide letters of support. Thumbs up. I guess the thumbs up would be reflected in the minutes in some fashion. Brenda?
In fact, thank you for your comments, Dennis, because I was also going to make that comment, because in the project summary, it suggests that there's a focus on workforce development, but certainly in reading the application, it talked a lot about workforce development. And in fact, when I had my pre-call, a lot of my questions were around the same issues. So Rich did provide information around the workforce development components of the project, and it helped me to appreciate further that this project, if the board decides to fund it, will in fact have a workforce development focus that will come to fruition. And the reason I say that is my background is in workforce development, and the organizations that were mentioned in the application, I actually not only relied on Rich's information, but did my own checking. And there has been outreach to those organizations. And one of the primary functions of the Institute will be able to be a feeder to facilitate individuals from particularly the Latino community to gain access to opportunities for participation in training, so that they meet the qualifications for entry. Northland is a great example. They have talked to the director there, Steve Tucker. They're getting to understand the pre-qualifications so that they can prepare people for those qualifications. They're not talking about running another set of workforce programs in, let's say, advanced manufacturing. They are talking about making sure for the populations, given the poverty rates and the need for equity and inclusion, that people can take advantage of the opportunity. And a lot of that is related to not only the academic preparation, but the soft skills, feeling good about yourself, showing up, getting places on time, understanding responsibilities, the financial side, how to manage your money, how to budget, how to prepare if you want to set goals like owning your own home, etc. So I was very favorably impressed by the linkages and the fact that they were not creating another program that wasn't quote supported by businesses, which I think Dennis makes an excellent point, because that's led to the success of Northland, but that they were talking to those programs in existence in our community and making sure that individuals who might normally not have access for a variety of reasons do have access. So I am in total support of not only what Dennis says relative to any workforce applications, they absolutely should be supported by industry, but just as important when they are feeder programs or facilitating individuals who might not otherwise participate, that they are able to participate because they have the prerequisite skills to enter and be successful. Thank you.
Brenda, thanks. That's very, very, very helpful observations. Any other comments or questions for Richard before I ask for a vote? Hearing none, I will again ask for a motion to adopt staff's recommendation to award $300,000 to the Hispanic Heritage Council of Western New York.
I'll move it.
Second.
Brenda McDuffie.
Moved by Brenda, seconded by Dennis. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? It appears that that carried unanimously. Ladies and gentlemen, is there any other business that we need to discuss today? Hearing none, I will remind you that our next meeting is scheduled for April 4, 2023. It's hard to even think that we're that far along, but I guess that we are. And if there is no other business, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Move, Dennis.
Moved by Dennis, seconded by Paul. All in favor?
Deanna doesn't propose to be Paul's better half. She made the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Well, Deanna, I saw Paul's lips move, so I'm not sure what he was doing, but it sounded to me like it came from his lips. That's all right. The motion was seconded by both Deanna and Paul. Paul didn't verbalize it, though. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, all. See you in April.
Thank you,
All right,
gentlemen.
please take care.